We Happy Few has a lot of different weapons and clothing items that help you progress through the game. While weapons help you deal with conflicts a lot quicker, clothing lets you just ignore a lot of conflicts that aren't even necessary. But I had a random thought pop into my head, and that was, can you beat We Happy Few without any weapons or clothing items whatsoever? Before we get into the run, I had to choose my difficulty. Ultra Baby Mode, Super Baby Mode, or Baby Mode. And I decided to go with Baby Mode, because why not? The starting section of Arthur's campaign won't let you access your inventory or do anything really, so I don't count this and I'm skipping ahead. Now that we're actually in the game, I had to go into the inventory and take off his outfit. So basically, I can't use any of the boxes that were to the left in the inventory. After getting jump scared, you get thrown into a tutorial on how to throw hands with this jackass. It looks like I was dealing decent damage to him, but I'll tell you that your fists do not deal that much damage to every other NPC in the entire game. Now, scavenging will be my best friend in this entire playthrough because I need a shit ton of healing items and things to boost my stamina. To proceed past the tutorial area of the game, I had to get this old man's medals, which is inside this little bunker where I have to fight a few people. I decided to eat and drink just before giving all my shit away, but forgot how much the NPCs just loved to hear themselves talk, so I lost the buffs. I had to pick up a weapon so the scene would play out, but I won't be using it, so it doesn't really matter. A lot of the weapons in this game will automatically be equipped to you if you pick it up and there's nothing in your weapon slot. Now, fighting an enemy with a weapon is a doozy. Like, they still deal a lot of damage even if you block their attacks. After killing this guy, the announcer surprises you by saying that you have to fight 2 more people. And for good luck, I chucked the foe's body onto them. Now, this fight was a lot harder than I thought it would be. They actually managed to put me in last stand, which I didn't know that it gave me a healing item, but I didn't notice at the time, so I just kept on fighting. And this is also when I realized that they hit past your blocks now, and they deal even more damage. I was barely able to kill her before I dropped dead, but I still didn't know that I was given a healing item for the first time going into last stand. But I'd say it was worth it because the maniacal laughter was perfectly timed by the announcer.
It's been a real pleasure having you over. Catch you later.
I should bring up the perks. Sneak and health are still good, but things like OU and charge attack are completely useless now because the charge attack only works if you have a weapon and OU only works on jumping, running, crouching, stuff like that. Alright, this is where I made the decision that gadgets were okay. Anything that's throwable that's under the list of gadgets I thought was good, but if it was under the tags weapons in your inventory, then I wouldn't use it, like enhanced rocks or rocks. After grabbing the man's medals and getting my inventory back, it was time to leave this shithole to enter another shithole. I forgot to tell you about a collectible that will help me dearly throughout this entire playthrough, and that's books. Books can do a lot of different things, like increase your unarmed damage, make you take less damage from toxic gas, or make you take less damage overall. Arthur nearly got killed because his dick was out, but he ran into a church, luckily. This is where I learned that some NPCs will not be aggroed to you for any reason because that will fuck up a mission. So that was lucky. They wouldn't let me leave unless I put on the suit, which sucked, and some of you might count that as a fail, but I'm gonna say not because all I had to do was equip it for 2 seconds and then take it off again and then they would let me leave. But if you think I did fail the challenge, then by all means, just go ahead and dislike the video. Now this is where the big issue finally comes to play. Everybody wants you dead because you're butt naked running through the streets. This will be a massive problem later in the game because there are like thousands of people littered in the streets that include bobbies and doctors. I found a pocket expansion kit which was under outfits, so I decided against using it. And now, after all that, it's finally time to exit the tutorial stage. I decided why not do a side quest, and so I went over here to beat the shit out of some guys and save a chef. In this moment, I actually found out that I could push people off to their deaths. This would help a lot, if only there were more areas like that in the game. After spending way too long trying to kill these guys, I finally completed my first side quest. I don't really need the skill points, but I thought I did need them. But at least I got chunkies too. Did a puzzle that a 4-year-old would laugh at, just to unlock a fast travel point. Actually, in there was one of the most overpowered gadget blueprints in the game, so I'm happy about that one. It was time to go see Ollie, but the most notable thing is that I got jump scared by this guy, and I just closed the door and fucking locked it in his face. After Arthur deals with all the flashbacks, he has to deal with these 3 idiots, but they're easily dealt with caltrops and just unlocking the door. After you get out of there and talk to Ollie, you just have to go to the military base. And honestly, I dealt with this the exact same way that I did on my first playthrough, and that's just run for it. They all have armor and a weapon that actually causes bleeding to you, so it's really not worth fighting these assholes. After all that, you just talk to Ollie and then move on to the next quest. I randomly decided that going down the lifts were too slow, so I just fucking jumped down like a maniac. And I forgot that the worst checkpoint in the entire game was next. I don't know who thought it was a good idea to make this area so fucking drawn out. It literally takes like almost 12 minutes to get past this one checkpoint alone. The game wanted me to put on a suit for 2 seconds just so the fucking door would open, and I thought the game actually bugged because the lady didn't talk for another 10 seconds afterwards. I found it kind of weird that there wasn't any unique dialogue going into this place without any suit on. Then after all of that, you just have to sit in a room for 2 minutes straight and listen to Jack. Then we get to the worst part of the entire section, and that's the quiz! I won't let you guys go through it, because I went through it 3 times and I know the pain. Now we get to the real meat of the challenge, places like Maidenholm. Now, why is this the real meat of the challenge? Well, anywhere you go, everyone is pissed off at you. And having 7 people on every single corner of the street is not really the best thing in the world when you have no means to fight. Anyways, while trying to go to the back alley to meet Sally, I found out that some actions can't be done while in combat, which could be a major problem later. Luckily the hatch was nearby and I was able to sleep off anybody that was pissed off at me, and I was able to run all the way to the back alley just so I can do this. While I was doing a main quest line, I ran into a Bobby that couldn't be aggro to me, and I thought it was kind of humorous that a Bobby would just say howdy to somebody that was completely butt naked in a public place. Then I had to go to the party, which I was kind of dreading because I knew for a fact that to knock on Grandma's door, I had to not be in combat. I didn't have a plan going into this, so I was hoping that I could just run in and just sit somewhere, hoping that everybody would forget where I was, and just run to Grandma's door and knock on it. I had a good thing going at first. I stunned everybody with caltrops and then ran over to a chair and sat down, and it went pretty well, and I thought, hey, maybe this won't be so bad. After a minute of waiting, I thought maybe this would be my chance to run through. But the Bobby and his fat ass got in the goddamn way, and they all got pissed off immediately. Now this got really bad, and it got to the point where I started to panic and just started throwing shit like vomit bombs. That did not help at all. It especially didn't help since the Bobbies had gas masks on. What a fucking idiot I was. I actually got impatient at one point and tried to beat the shit out of them, hoping that they would thin out. But none of them died even after like 3 minutes of trying. And I also was running really low on healing items. The more I tried, the more that came, and I didn't understand where they were coming from. Time and time again, I just tried harder and harder to get to that door, but there was always somebody that saw me. After all that work and after all the items that I wasted, not a single healing item left, I found out that I didn't even need to get to the door and that the council's ID was on the fucking floor in the lobby. You don't know how heartbroken I was after figuring that out. Anyways, I made it back to the safe room, at least, and there were no healing items, but at least I had some skill points to max my health out and increase it. After my 3-day break, it was time to jump right back in. And it was time to do the long and tedious process that is doing the quest line for Dr. Faraday. Whoopee. I'm gonna skip over a lot of this, but hey, there was one thing that I did find that was interesting out there, and that was a bunker that was filled with bombs. There was nothing notable really in there, except for duct tape, scotch, and a healing bomb. There was this area though, and it had a couple of books in there that actually really helped me out. I'm getting kind of sidetracked, sorry. But there is one more thing, and that was that I was able to buy and sell things to a vendor. I thought that that was a no-go since everybody wanted to kill you at every waking moment. Was able to extract parts from this one car while people were trying to kill me, and they actually put me into last stand while I was in a cutscene. After doing all that work and running outside, you find out that Faraday had no intentions of helping you. What a bitch. After selling all of my shit to that one vendor, I was able to buy all the flash in the world and some jerky for later. Now it was time to go to St. George's. This actually went a lot smoother than I thought. All I had to do was just bribe the Bobby and then lockpick the door. That was actually a lie, because I forgot to take the joy just before going into the booth and thought that I could just run in, and then I almost got fucking beat to death. Then after a quick session of Simon Says with my feet, I was able to get into St. George's home. Now this is where I made a horrific decision to run on the outer edge of the entire town to get to Sally's quicker. That, in fact, is not faster. In fact, there is no entrance for the entire way around. After all that, we finally got to meet up with Sally again, and she wants cod liver oil. I decided to collect a few things and unlock this fast travel point just before going on any further.
Like Linneus, sir? Oh yes, I'm a big fan. Come on, people, have a sense of humour.
Before going to Hayworth Labs, I had to do a few quests to be able to get in there. I tried to lock the door on a Bobby, and he scared the shit out of me because I forgot Bobbies can break through doors. When the place was cleared out, however, I made a shit ton of toasted chicory just because I had the money to spend. Had to do another quest that had to do with facts or some shit, I don't know. And I have to deal with these three idiots. I completely forgot they even existed, and I usually have the boiler shit at this point. But, since I don't have it, I just have to take them all out. For some reason, I decided to take on these guys without any items. And this made me truly realize just how fucking awful the fists are. Like, I was dealing most of the damage to the one without armor, and this still took way too long. Then, to top it all off, after all the work that I did, a fucking Bobby comes out of nowhere. This went on for a little longer, and it was a little bit harder now that the Bobby was here, and I used a few healing items and some toasted chicory, but in the end, at least I got to work on my dodging skills. And after about 6 minutes, the one guy that I needed to go down finally went down. Skipping ahead a little bit, I got to ride the Jubilator and watch Arthur fall to his death. Then after the swings and roundabouts with all the switches, I got to fight the Jubilator. Now, if you have shock grenades, this boss is an absolute pushover. And I wanted to just test out how much glass bottles do compared to the shock grenade. And just look at that fucking damage. Before I just ended it off with a banger or another shock grenade, I wanted to see if I could actually just punch this thing out. And it did not go too well. After you talk to Arthur's old boss, then you just head all the way over to Hayworth Labs. It was kind of weird going through this area without a gas mask because I didn't even know there were areas with joy mist. You know, other than the Simon Says checkpoint. I got kind of depressed when I found a winning argument just lying on the floor just before the battle. Then it was time to fight the White Bobby, the man with 3 armor and there's poison gas all in the room. I used every single caltrop I had on this massive motherfucker. He couldn't get stunned by any of the punches that I had, but he at least got stunned by the caltrops. I don't know why, but I didn't want to use any bombs or throwables. I just wanted to take this guy down with only my bare fists, and he was going down, even if I have to go down with him. And after 5 minutes of non-stop wailing, he finally went down. I grabbed the cod liver oil and just headed off to Sally. After talking to Sally, which I for some reason skipped so I have no footage of it, I can now cross the bridge into the parade. After waiting for everyone to forget about me, it was finally time to cross into the parade. But then something happened that never happened before with any other checkpoint.
What the devil do you mean coming up? What the devil do you mean coming up here dressed like that? Clear off before I call the rest of the lads.
Now this, if I do put on clothing and talk to the Bobby, I do count as a fail, because I'm interacting with an NPC while clothed. I wanted to try to piss him off first to see if that would do anything, but the darts don't go through the little hole. But I realized that the only way that I was able to get through here is if I use glitches, which I tried to stay away from through the whole playthrough. Now, I can't go through the checkpoint, but I can go over it using bombs. And all I have to do is just throw a bomb at my feet and angle it perfectly so that I would go flying up. Unfortunately, it's never that simple, and I was using the wrong bombs to begin with. Now, I made a little example of what I need for this little skip. Basically, the banger will knock me back because it is an explosive, but it doesn't knock me far enough. Fortunately for me, there exists a different type of bomb, a bigger banger, that launches you way fucking further. Actually, it's able to knock you over the fucking building altogether. But there is a glaring problem. I need to find one. And so look and look I did. I went searching for so fucking long. Over 3 hours of non-stop searching for this one bomb, and it just wasn't anywhere. I don't know where the fuck it is. It might be because I'm playing on the hard difficulty, but I don't know. I ended up trying to do quests even. So I tried to do one for this old man, and he died while I was doing it. But after all that time and all that searching, I finally found it. A single fucking bigger banger. And I was so happy. I couldn't thank Grandpa enough for what he has given me. I'm so sad that he passed. And now it was finally time to head off to the parade. I failed a couple of times, but that led me to realize that I won't be able to come back because the only way to get back is to wear a fancy suit. So I went back to my inventory to grab everything that I need. Since I'm horrible at trajectory and shit like that, it took 4 minutes to get it down, but once I did, it was magical. Being up that high, seeing the view, seeing how far I've come after all of this time, it was nice. What wasn't nice, however, was having to jump down and break every single bone in my body, though. Just before getting into the cannon room, I wanted to be as safe as possible, so I was in the crafting menu for about 3 minutes. Now, I knew this was coming. I had to kill every single person in this room because I can't interact with any of the machines unless I'm not in combat, which is basically impossible since I'm completely butt naked. I had to use every single banger I had, and there were still some left alive. And there were 33 bangers in my inventory. But holy shit, it was extremely satisfying to fucking take them all out. And there was still this guy in the back office, so I took him out the old-fashioned way. Then all I had to do was just blow a hole in the office and then talk to the guy, and then the hard part was behind me. All that was left was to enter the medical center and turn off the quarantine. I was captured and tortured by them showing images of my past. They exploded because they're dumbasses and they don't know how to run machines, and it was finally time to leave Wellington Wells. Just before leaving, though, I made sure to steal this guy's coffee. I remembered this time to watch out for the steam pipe that sends you 40 feet back for some reason, and the caves collapsed, but I'm on the other side. I was thrilled by the fact that I only had to use a glitch one time to skip a single quest. So much so that I decided to eat and drink every single food and drink item that was in my inventory. Was honestly quite sad that Arthur wasn't naked in the final cutscene, and I beat Arthur's campaign in We Happy Few while naked and without weapons. If you made it this far into the video, thank you so much for watching. I just had a random spike in motivation to make something, and this came out of it. But anyways, I'll see you all in the next one.